Hi there, my name is Grimwolf25 and this is a pineapple sage plant, and I'll be teaching you all today how to dry pineapple sage leaves. First of all, you will need your scissors or kitchen shears, whichever works better for you to cut. I'm using heavy-duty kitchen shears. And we're just going to take a couple of snips of the pineapple sage leaf off. As you can see, it's kind of gotten a little out of control, but you plant it and you let it grow, and then you snip it when you feel like it. Just as long as it's not down to the nub. So let's get started. Alright, now that we have all those leaves cut, or the stems anyways, and stalks cut where I wanted them to, you can see, sorry about that, the dog tried to go for the pineapple sage. Right, Sherlock? Get down. He loves it too. He's not allowed to have too much of it. What you're going to do is you're going to actually rinse the leaves off, just in cold water, because you don't want to damage the leaves. Just rinse them off gently so you don't damage the leaves. Our next step is that we're going to take the leaves and we're going to break them off from the stalks so that way they're not so hard to deal with. It's very difficult to do this with one hand, so I might just gently put this down so that way I can show you while I'm doing this. Pardon this. Here we go. Just gently take the leaves and just pull them off the stalks and the stems, whichever one you want to call it. You'll smell the lovely fragrance of pineapple while you're doing this. Make sure you're checking your leaves when you do this. As you will see, there will be some bites from animals or tears. You can either just take those off, or you could just not use the leaf. It depends on how damaged the leaf actually is. As you can see, I'm getting some pretty large size leaves, about the size of my hand here almost. But they are a nice size, which is really good. I'm just putting them on the paper plate. Trying not to get any stems, but as you can see, it's a lot of leaves. Now, as you can see, they're a beautiful green coloring, and I chose not to use some of them because, as you can see with this, there are holes there. And as you can also see, I'm still gathering tomatoes from my garden right now due to the wacky weather. But you can do whatever you'd like with the leftovers, trash them, or basically anything you choose. I will personally trash mine because it's a strong smell, and I mean, I can smell my hands. They're very, very fragrant right now. The next thing you'll need to do is you'll need to get another white paper plate, or just a paper plate. It doesn't have to be any color, but I would suggest the really thin white ones like this. Then you just place it on top, and then we're going to go over to the microwave. Then once you're at the microwave, go ahead and put that in there with that on top. It doesn't have to be completely secure because it's just going to try to keep the coloring in. Close that and make sure it's only going to be in there for 1 minute. I'll just wait for that to dry, which doesn't take very long at all. But what we're trying to do is, and by doing this process, is we're actually keeping the leaves green. While we're waiting for that, I'll go ahead and show you what it will look like once it's dried. And it should look like this. As you can see, we still have that beautiful green, dark emerald green color. Not quite as dark as before, but it's dark enough that you can still see it. And what we'll do is, as you can see, I reuse bottles and jars, in particular jars, because they're glass and they make good containers to put these in. Now, as you can see, this is the new one that's freshly out of the microwave. It's not really dried yet. It's very damp still. It may need to just sit out overnight on the paper plate, or 2 nights if you choose to. But just let it air dry the rest of the way, because it'll keep that coloring once you're done, and then it will look more like this. And then what you're ready to do once you get to this point, you just take it, crush it up, and put it in a jar. It doesn't have to be completely crushed, as you can see, it just kind of goes in. I'm just crushing it with my hands because it's easier. If I had a mortar and pestle, I would use it because it would be so much easier. But it's more fun this way, I believe. But as you can see, slowly building up. As you can see, it didn't quite fill up the jar, but that was the whole plate. And no barking. But as you can see, it just filled up enough that it was half the jar. So that the rest of that will come in handy, and I'll eventually put it in there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to seal your lid. Make sure it's sealed tight, not too tight that you can't open it. And then put it in a dark, dry place like a cupboard. This is my lemon balm that I've done earlier, and what you can do with it then, once you're done, is if you want to, you just go under your drawers, find your little tea sachet, and see if you can open this up. Screwed it on pretty tight. Alright, so then you just take a little bit of the tea, and just put it right in there. You don't have to do a lot, but I like a little bit more than that. I can smell the lemon, and you can always combine different types too. Lemon balm's a calming tea. I may give some to the puppy here in a little bit because he's allowed to have lemon balm. It's a calming agent. Works on women and on dogs. I don't know about men, but I know it's good for women and animals, especially hyperactive ones like Shelties, and he's an American Eskimo, so he's hyper too. Alright, then what we do is just seal that and get myself a glass of hot water, and I've got some tea. So there you have it. Alright, so you can see now I have my cup of tea. It really won't turn the cup any color, or the water any other color. It's just going to be a white tea, and that's one of the nice things about this, is that it does stay a white tea, so it's a really light tea, and it's flavorful, and this particular one doesn't have much of a scent, because right now the sage is overpowering my nose, and this is lemon balm, but in the end it's good. And as you can see, I do tend to like Disney, so, and this was the nice little perk, so hope y'all enjoyed my first video, and hopefully it turns out better than it would have from my earlier attempt. And Sherlock would like to say his version of goodbye. And this is Sherlock's goodbye. He's being a good boy. Ready? Sherlock!